Okay, now we're talking. Woohoo! Am I really gonna say I like the Polaroid Now Plus picture over the Polaroid Onestep 2? No, come on. Really? Let's talk about the Polaroid Now Plus Gen 2 once again. Recently released a video on this where I went out, shot it, mostly to see if the photos weren't overexposed every time you take a picture. And while the results were wildly not so great, but can you get good photos with this? Is it even possible? Because if you remember from that video, I didn't use its main key feature, the plus feature, app control. Go into manual control and be able to dial in your photos as you see fit. So in this video, I want to go out and shoot in manual mode and see if you can actually get good photos with the Polaroid Now Plus Gen 2. Let's get into it.
You know the type of guy that was a jock in high school but ended up becoming a huge nerd? You know, someone that's not afraid to make a fool of themselves on the internet. And someone that likes to shoot Polaroid a little too much. Did I say huge nerd? You know, just an ordinary, everyday guy. Well, that's me. I'm just another Chris.
Overcast out today, unfortunately. It's a little windy today. I mean, it's partially cloud. Actually, where I just pointed the camera is the only blue sky. It's just clouds everywhere. I brought one pack of 8 photos. That is all I'm shooting today because I am done wasting film with this stupid camera. You know how much money I have put into these dang things? Luckily, I didn't have to buy the camera. It is on loan from one of you lovely viewers. John, shout out to you. Member in the Spitfire Club. Remember, that's the Patreon page. If you guys want to join, there's a lot of cool perks in there and it helps the channel out. Without further ado, let's get this thing loaded up and shoot some photos and see what we can do. I'm going to making sure the lighting source is, optimal. I mean, the sun is trying to come out and it's right there. Therefore, I won't be shooting, into the sun. I'll be making sure that that sun is behind the camera and just get a shot of my car, I guess. I mean, might as well. I've yet to get a good photo of it, actually. So let's see what I can do. So all I'm trying to do is get the metering into 0. Oh, there we go. F22 at 125th of a second. I'm at nearly 0. I'm going to take the first shot. Sorry for these horrible camera angles. And I'm going to use it without a flash. Flash is off. F22 at 125th of a second. Let's see. Well, there we go. Let's find out. I got a couple comments in the last video about people saying you need to leave the frog tongue on the photo for like 5-10 minutes. That's old school Polaroid stuff, but I am doing that for at least a couple of minutes and just to please you people. That's what I'm here for, right? Dance, monkey, dance! I do plan in the future doing a video fully testing this. I know I've teased it for like probably a year and a half or so. Hopefully I'll be able to do that this summer. Fully testing if you even need the frog tongues anymore these days. But I'll be testing that in the future, so stay tuned, consider subscribing. So I was just driving by and saw, oh, my screen is smudgy, hang on. There we go, that's better. It's really loud. But I was driving by and just happened to be next to the Save Drugs sign, so I shot another photo with it. These app settings gave me F22 125th as well as the previous shot. So leaving it in the frog tongue for a minute or two, and then it goes into that little pouch I showed you in the previous video. Let's move on. Back to shooting this sign. I'm recreating this shot from the last video because it was crap. So I'm hoping I can improve the results by shooting this in manual mode. And let's just hope for the best. It's like F22 125th seems to be the magic number. Let's shoot it, see what happens. All right, there's 2 shots I'm gonna get here. We got this cool motel sign, and then, woo, there's that big old motel sign. So I'm gonna try and get some of those shots. The sun is just not quite in the best position. You have to go like way over there. So I'm actually going to call it for today. It's a little overcast, not the perfect weather conditions. So I think I'm going to wait till tomorrow for a little bit nicer days to shoot the last couple. Let's head back to the studio, aka my house, and wait for tomorrow. What I'm actually going to do is not look at the photos. I mean, you actually have already seen them. I haven't seen these yet. I'm going to do a reveal for myself on camera. So now we just have to wait for the clouds to clear. Well, it's day 2. It's much much more nice outside. It's clear blue sunny day. We'll have to wait till 5 o'clock for it to clear up. This sign here should look familiar to a lot of you. I love this Mexican restaurant. So I'm actually gonna go -1-ish on the metering for this one, just because I think that's what it needs. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna shoot this with the Onestep 2 camera just for fun, see what we got. The film in here is kind of old, so maybe not. You kind of jammed up. I have to sacrifice the top photo. Oh no, and possibly the second one. Oh, that photo's no good. No good. Right next to a train, it's really loud. I'm gonna try and get a couple shots. I shot at f/22, 1/25 of a second. There's one left on here. It's perfect timing. The train's starting to roll away. All right, that was the last one. Fun fact, the logo for Make Some Art, aka my logo that I use for t-shirts and whatnot, it's actually this. Look familiar? Look at that. And it was from a real Polaroid picture too. All right, so I shot all the photos in the pack of the Now Plus Gen 2. I haven't seen the photos, they are in here. Okay, these are the Onestep 2 photos. I'm gonna set those aside for a minute. These are the Polaroid Now Plus Gen 2 photos. They're not in the order of how I shot them, so we're just gonna go through them as they are. First photo up, the Husong and Larry sign. This is not too bad. This is super promising. Let's take a look at the Onestep 2. I ran into a problem. It tried to eject 2 photos at once. That sometimes happens with Polaroid packs of film. It's super frustrating. And when I was trying to fix it, I introduced some light leaks. So that old pack that I was shooting with kind of got ruined. So these really aren't a great testament of what this camera can do. But even with the light leak issues, way better, honestly, than the Gen 2. When you look at them side by side, ignore the crazy weirdness of the lens flaring on the corner. That was from light leak, and I had spread issue because this film had been sitting in the camera for quite some time. But mostly just focus on the colors, like of the greens and the sky, and even the highlights in the Onestep 2 camera. They're not overexposed versus the Now Plus Gen 2, the whites and the highlights, they are a little bit overexposed still. There's not much detail there. This is one of the better photos I have taken with the Gen 2, so that's super promising. Next up, we got the motel sign. It's not amazing. Under the circumstances of shooting against the bright sky, there's still red in the sign, and that's not too bad. That's not too bad. And this one's pretty good too. The highlights aren't blown out whatsoever. I actually kind of like this one. The sky could have been better, just, you know, it was starting to get overcast like I said that day. If it wasn't overcast, this photo would have been perfect. This was right down the middle of the settings, right at 0 for the exposure compensation. And yeah, the highlights aren't completely blown out. You can still see cloud detail. The whites aren't blown out. Dang. This one's actually overexposed. I think I was -1-ish, close to -1. But the sky has detail. I mean, everything's exposed right. I would have liked to have seen it a little bit darker. It's not really the camera's fault. That would have been user fault. But I wanted to try and see how the metering was working on the camera, and it could have been better, but that's not horrible. All right, okay, so this is the reshoot of my car with the sign. For comparison, this is the last shot I took, and now this one is what I took in manual control mode. And hey, I'm actually pretty pleased. You can see everything. Again, overcast day, clouds started rolling in, but overall, I'm pretty pleased. Next one up. Okay, now we're talking. Yes, 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 yes. Look at that. Woohoo! Now we're talking. Look at that beautiful blue sky. And last up, we have the train shot, which this came out better than I thought it would too. As I said in the video, it actually wasn't a great optimal time to try and shoot this photo. The sky was brighter than the subject, and did a good job. Fantastic job. Wow, I'm very pleased. Let's look at the last few shots I took with the Onestep 2 camera and compare. And the train shot with the Onestep 2 actually did a bad job. And that's also because I was in manual control and I was able to meter the scene and adjust the shot based on its, scene exposure. And the Onestep 2 doesn't have that. That's where it falls short. You can't control the settings in that regard. And here we go. I will say the blues are richer and the highlights are actually better on the Onestep 2 camera. If you really have to look for it, but if you look at the Gen 2, you look at the building and you look near the tree. The tree isn't exposed, you can't really even see it on the Onestep 2 camera, but the building side itself, there's way more detail in the bright spots of the image. If you look over on the Gen 2 next to the tree, there's no detail on the building, it's just like washed out. And it's gone. But overall, the image is brighter on the Gen 2 than the other one, so I guess it's just a give and take. I personally like, well, damn, they're both great. Am I really gonna say I like the Polaroid Now Plus picture over the Polaroid Onestep 2? No, come on, really? I'm gonna go with the Now Plus Gen 2 picture. Wow, the vibes that I'm actually getting from this one, it just seems more retro, more summery feel. It feels better. Wow, that's surprising. Well, there you have it, 8 photos that were good. Who would have thought?
Not me.
However, you have to utilize your phone to be able to get the good photos out of this thing. If you turn it on, point and shoot it at something, you're pretty much guaranteed wrong settings. Your pictures are going to be overexposed or underexposed in some cases, or just completely out of focus. So you have to use your phone to get good pictures with this thing. Keep that in mind. So I guess that really comes down to your preference. If you don't mind doing that, then hey, maybe get this thing. I never thought I'd say that. But I think I would still recommend and push people to get the Onestep Plus because you don't have to worry about any of that. And you can still use your phone to control the camera. All of the manual controls and other features. And honestly, some of these other ones probably would have been a lot better if it wasn't overcast out. When shooting instant photography, overcast really causes problems with your photos. They tend to desaturate your pictures and things become a little bit overexposed, and it just doesn't, it's not great. I tend to avoid shooting in overcast situations, and I tell others to do the same. However, with that said, I still don't recommend this camera. I would still say avoid it. It's got too many issues. You shouldn't have to worry about some of these things. You shouldn't have to rely on using manual control just to get good photos. That's not cool when you can just pick this up, point, shoot, and get a photo. Still stay away from this, but if you do get one or have one, use it in manual mode. Well, that's all I got for you in today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Now, get out there, make some art.